Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Social Zee Franchise Happy Hour. I'm the host, Calvin, and today I've got some awesome people from South Florida, or I guess who live in South Florida, not necessarily from there, Keith and Sabrina, and they're going to tell us a little bit about their background, their current brands, what they're doing, and then we're going to dive into what they're focused on to grow their business and also what they wish they knew back when they started their business that they've learned since they've been in operations. So Keith and Sabrina, thanks for joining us.
Sure, my
pleasure. Thank you, Calvin.
So to kick us off here, Keith, what I'll ask you to do is just give us a quick intro on your business, just the high level stats, how many years you've been in business, where you're located, how many team members you have, and if you want to share any kind of financial figures, you can share that as well.
Sure. Well, my name is Keith Lefkof. I own a Cruise Planners franchise, which is a strategic partnership with American Express Travel. We've bought the franchise 6 months ago during COVID, and we're doing really well with it, actually. And we're looking forward to next year when more people will be traveling.
Awesome. Thanks, Keith. And Sabrina, can you do the same introduction?
Sure. Sabrina Rodriguez. I own a few franchises and a consulting business. I own Assisted Living Locators, which I bought in the middle of COVID in November of last year. And I also have a network lead exchange, which is owned by United Franchise Group. I bought that in February of this year. And I own a consulting business for which a franchise called The Learning Experience I used to work for and worked with multiple franchisees. Franchisee reached out to me, and now I run a few of his preschools.
Wow. So you're busy.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, Sabrina, obviously you've been very active over the last 18 months or so starting these businesses. What did you do before you started the businesses that you have now, and what made you kind of get into just franchising in general?
So I was a regional director for the Learning Experience. I had 75 preschools from Virginia down to Maryland, and I work with franchisees, corporate-owned schools, and I ran those schools at regional managers, building revenue, opening new schools, creating plans, and hiring, training, etc. So I did that for 7 years, and then prior to that, I was at Steak and Shake as a regional director. I had close to 100 stores in Florida, Texas, and Illinois, and I love franchising. So how I got into franchising was knowing that if you follow the systems with a good franchise, you can totally build a business. You could be outside of the industry, and if you walk in and you follow their processes, you can be successful.
Absolutely. So you actually worked on the other side of franchising, as we call it, on the corporate side, and so you've seen how it should work and how franchisees could be successful if they do execute and decided to buy your own, right?
Absolutely.
Yep. Keith, what about you? What did you do in your previous career, and why did you decide to get into the franchise world?
Previously I was in corporate real estate, 15 years in New York City real estate, and then about 5 years here in Florida. I did commercial real estate for franchisors and franchisees, as well as retail tenants throughout the country. And I also own my own franchise consulting firm, which was associated with IFPG, which is International Franchise Professionals Consulting Group.
So just like Sabrina, Keith, then you already knew the world, knew the model, and what made you decide to make the switch from being on that side of it going into the franchise world?
I wanted to be on the dark side of franchising. I have a background in hospitality. I have a hotel and restaurant management degree from FIU, and I was in hotel management for about 5 years, event planning, meeting planning, and I want to get back to traveling and exploring the world. And this franchise lets me do that.
Sure. And Keith, obviously you wanted to get into the traveling piece. What made you land on your specific brand? I mean, there's other opportunities in the franchise space to get back to traveling and to live in that space. Why did you decide on the one that you have now?
Well, being a franchise consultant, I had over 500 franchises I could choose from that I knew about personally. And Cruise Planners was not only one of the top travel franchises in the country, it's one of the top franchises. We have over 2,600 franchisees, and their support, their coaching, their systems is all top notch.
Awesome. And Sabrina, what about you? Why did you buy the brands that you have now, and why didn't you open a Steak and Shake?
So honestly, Steak and Shake sounded very appealing, but I have a family of 3 girls. I have younger 8, 9, and 10-year-old. So last year I was furloughed in the middle of COVID because COVID and it was hard for a lot of businesses, and preschools are one business that were hit. And I just really took a look at, what is it that I want to do, and I wanted to make a difference. And I also wanted to grow in a industry that I knew was going to be successful. So for assisted living locators, it's a senior healthcare industry, and there are going to be baby boomers that are going to need this service in the future, and also their parents that currently need the services now. So it's going to grow exponentially. And the fact that assisted living locators did not have any presence down in South Florida was mind-boggling because they have such an amazing brand. So I did lots of research, and I actually did lots of interviewing franchisees. Typically, they'll give you 2 or 3 franchisees to interview. I asked for 15, and there were specific ones I asked for, so I would know what I was getting into. And at the end of the day, assisted living locators is definitely going to be a future. It's going to be an amazing opportunity for lots of money, and also just to make a huge impact in the lives of others. Sure. As far as Network Lead Exchange, the reason why I bought that franchise a few months after I bought the other franchise was because I recognized that networking was a very important part of growing your business, not just with assisted living locators, but with any business itself. So getting out there, networking with individuals, and creating relationships. So I enjoy that so much. And I used to have a huge team. And now that I don't have a huge team because it's more of a 1 to 2 man show, it's been really great to work with a whole bunch of different people with different backgrounds and have that support and be able to support them.
And so, Sabrina, you have 3 girls, you said?
I do.
Awesome. What do they think about their mom being the boss and the entrepreneur? And are they thinking they want to do that one day, or?
Well, they just care about me being there for dance and violin and being an active mom. In fact, being able to be a franchise owner has been able to give me the opportunity to be able to pick them up every day and drop them off and be part of their lives. Probably for the first 7-8 years of their lives, I traveled Monday through Friday to different states, different cities. And this is a great opportunity for me to really to connect with my kids. And it's just been, it all happened for a reason. And I really I'm enjoying the ride. Sure.
So in your situation, Sabrina, being a franchise owner has allowed you to be home more and engage with the family more. And then Keith, on your side, you mentioned you got into the franchise you're in to travel a little bit more, right?
Correct. I'm actually leaving for Alaska tomorrow.
That's awesome. So, Keith, I think I know what Sabrina might say with this question, but why don't you kick the conversation off for us on, what's the number one thing that you're doing right now to grow your business and your, individual franchise location? And, what do you, recommend that other franchisees who are just starting out, what do they need to be focusing on to really grow?
I would definitely say, just like Sabrina said, networking is number one. Getting out there, joining your local networking groups, Network Lead Exchange or M3 Linked is very good. Joining the Chamber of Commerce, meeting people. I would say educating yourself on the new industry, if you're not familiar with it, is very important, especially during the downtime right now that I have. I'm educating myself on each cruise brand as well as any hotel that I'm working with right now.
Sure. So Keith, before we started recording here, you mentioned something about one of the well-known networking groups, right? Which is BNI, right? Which is something that particularly older brands always recommend to franchisees. You got to join the BNI. And what's your thoughts on that as a networking model, and what do you see as the opportunity? And you mentioned a few already, but if I'm a new franchisee and I'm going to actually go out and focus on networking, what groups or organizations do I need to be looking at?
I definitely recommend Network Lead Exchange, which is a franchise, which is a paid membership networking group where people are serious, they're professionals, and they want to give and receive referrals. My personal belief is the non-paid networking groups they're not as serious. They're not really showing up to meetings, and they're not really helping you improve your business.
Sabrina, I'm sure Keith will expect you to buy him a beer after that plug there.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned it, Sabrina, that one of the reasons you started your Network Lead Exchange franchise was because you saw the need as a business owner, right? But what are you seeing within your organization, within Network Lead Exchange? What do you recommend to your members to really get the most out of it, and what do you recommend that they do outside of just that to grow their businesses?
So most importantly, besides just showing up, it's actually getting to know the other members and adding value to them. So it's great to get paid referrals. I think that's important. But in order for you to get a paid referral, people have to trust you and know what you do. And also you're the subject matter expert. In our group, and what I am creating is folks and individuals that are in our group are the subject matter experts. So if I have a question about something, I should be able to reach out to someone and they should be able to help me, and vice versa. Besides just using their services, I think it's really, really important that people get to see or get that support. That was probably selfishly one of the biggest reasons why I opened up a Network Lead Exchange, because I wanted people to be able to work and interact with each other and be each other's support group, not just referral partners.
Sure. So what you're saying, Sabrina, is actually add value and make an effort and reach out to people, and in turn, people will follow suit and reach back out to you and give you leads, right? I think, Keith and I were talking about BNI specifically, and I don't want to make this a bash BNI session, but, all the ones I've joined in the past, I always felt like I was the one adding value and was sending a lot of things out, but you weren't getting that in return, right? And, it's good to see a new model come to that space, which probably hasn't changed. I think Keith said 1985 was
And what's amazing about it, Calvin, is besides being flexible on the meetings and being able to could be biweekly or Zoom via in person, however the meetings are set up. The other thing is making sure that people are engaged and also educated. So it's just educationals, not just on what people do, but just creating an opportunity for people to be educated and learn and begin to trust each other. In fact, when I opened up Network Lead Exchange, and I even told this to Keith, I don't expect any leads. That's not what my intention was. My intention really truly was to surround myself with like-minded individuals, so that way I would be able to add. I needed to add value to someone. I was new in the industry of senior healthcare, and I just didn't feel like I was the queen yet. So I really wanted to be able to add value to others, and vice versa.
Sure. And Keith, you mentioned doing research. There's a lot of what you're doing right now. So talk me through that. What does that mean? What's the process you're going through, and what are you doing on your own, and how much are you getting from cruise planners?
So with cruise planners, we have about 2 to 3 webinars, educational webinars a week, either through industry vendors or through the coaching team of cruise planners, which are coaching you on business plans, best practices, sales techniques, creating better social media platform posts. The other education is each cruise line, Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, Princess, they all have their own educational platform, and they get you get certified in their cruise university. So I'm going through each one. I've done about 8 now, and I have about 3 more to do.
So the tools and information's out there from the franchisor, and you're just taking advantage of it to make sure you're prepared when you talk to your clients, right?
Correct.
Awesome.
Travel is a ever-changing industry every day now, so you got to stay up on what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. last kind of question on this topic for both of you, Sabrina and Keith. What do you feel like is the level of support you get from your franchisors for growing your business, for leads and referrals and things like that? Do you feel like you're getting the support you need, and you're getting enough activity just off the brand, or you happen to generate it all yourself?
Well, I'm getting a lot of the educational background from the franchisor with the coaching sessions, but I still have to go out and get my own leads, and that's what franchise should be able to do.
Right. Yeah. Sabrina, what about you?
To piggyback off of Keith, to recognize that, one, they give you the training tools. So we've got a 5-day training program in person, plus a 16-week ongoing training and coaching by the franchisor, because things come up. And in this type of market, you have to really, the leads that you get are not SEO leads. They are leads that you need to go market into the facilities, etc. And they give you the coaching that you need to get into that. So it's creating presentations, it's creating, 5-minute pep rallies or whatever that's going to be. But what do you say? How do you say? When do you say it? And essentially, you need to go get the leads. So it's teaching you how to fish and not giving the fish itself. And most franchising is the same way. I mean, it's not a McDonald's, where everyone knows the brand and they get the same burger, should get the same burger every single time. In fact, this is why I picked something like this as opposed to more of a steak and shake, because this is challenging, but also you can make it your own. So you can be creative, you can add value by bringing additional ideas in, but the base of what we do is still the same. And again, I feel very confident with the coaching and the support that I've been getting from the franchisor. In fact, the first week the day that I got trained, which was a Friday, or Monday through Friday, I actually did a placement, which is unheard of. And I was running around trying to find a couple of different places to place them, and learning how to create contracts all on the run. And it happened within a few days. So I don't know, anyone that has done that, in this industry without any experience. And I was able to do that with a little bit of support of my franchise.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome, Sabrina. So staying on schedule here, let's move on to our next topic. And this is a conversation between you two again. But what do you know now that you wish you knew when you started your business? What's the thing that if you knew this 6 months ago, a year ago, 18 months ago when you started, you'd be light years ahead had you known it back then? What are those things for you guys?
For me, it was staying on task and staying on task and getting the support that you need. So I should have hired sooner. That would be. I was afraid to hire. I didn't want to add additional money that I didn't need to add. But it would have helped me a bit more because I'm really stretched thin, and I would have been able to do a lot more had I done it that way.
And since I bought Cruise Planner 6 months ago, right during COVID, I knew going in what I was getting myself into, and I bought low and it's expanding right now, so I'm happy. Awesome.
Keith, what are you seeing on the travel side? And this is something that we all can relate to. Is we all want to get out and move around and see the world again, right? What are you seeing on the horizon? Is that something that's going to happen in your business in the next 6 months, or is it a year out? What do you think?
People are cruising. I'm going on 3 cruises in the next 25 days.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And people are on the cruise ships. You need to be vaccinated and COVID tested. But people are traveling. If you're not vaccinated, people are traveling to hotels, staying inside the United States, going to the Grand Canyon, going to Yellowstone National Park. So they are traveling. It's just may not be on the cruise or out of the country.
Sure. And Keith, you mentioned you're going to Alaska. Where else are you heading over the next couple of days or week?
I have a 7-day cruise with MSC Cruises to the Caribbean, and then 2 weeks later, I have a 7-day cruise with Celebrity back to the Southern Caribbean.
Awesome. And I'm assuming part of that, or the majority of that, is research and work, or is it all play?
I will be doing some work at the pool, though, and I'll be doing networking and at the pool. But it will be work and play and educational as well.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on that. I mean, I think, as you mentioned, that's one of the reasons you got into that business, and to be able to now do that as making a living, that's amazing, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sabrina, what else, besides hiring early, what else would you have done differently if you went back in time here?
Followed more of the systems. So it's funny because I'm a systems person, and I know that as a franchisor in the past, you've got to follow the systems. And I kind of sidetracked off of it because I wanted additional income. So I started my consulting business in January, which is doing very well. So at the end of the day, if I was more focused and consistent on the processes, which I apologize to the franchisor, by the way, when we had our convention a few weeks ago, and said, man, I should have sticked to the systems. I should have followed up like I should have, and I would be in a better situation. But I'm actually still in a good situation. I still get leads. I still get placements. I'm doing okay. But I want to be the best. And so, the gunner, the top performing franchise by himself is making over $700,000 a year. So, I need to be there. So. Sure.
Yeah. As you both mentioned, in the start of our conversation, we buy the franchise because they give you the tools and the systems and everything you need. And we all have a habit at some point, that we're going to get, think we know a better way, or think we can try something a little bit different, or, things like that. When the reality is, if we do just stick to the process and stay consistent, over the long run, we'll be more successful for it. I was telling Keith, I'm now on my third franchise, branded a little like you, Sabrina, and every time I've started a new one, I forget that, and then I have to remind myself, and it's hard to do, hard to stay consistent over 12 months, every single year. So I'm definitely going to be jealous about your next 3 or 4 weeks compared to mine. So I hope you enjoy it and have a great time. And Sabrina, good luck with the last part of your year as well. It sounds like you've got a lot going on, and I'm sure you're going to be successful. And to everyone listening, thank you so much for taking the time to hear Sabrina and Keith's stories, and we look forward to visiting with you on the next Social Zee podcast. Thanks.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.